If you have questions, concerns, and are just lost when it comes to planning for retirement, meet Steve Hoyl and Derrick Caldwell of the Hoyl Financial Group. Did you know that the greatest major leaguer of all time taught us a lesson about guaranteed income? A century ago, man, that's a long time. A century ago, Babe Ruth purchased an annuity just 6 years before the Great Depression hit. The result? Well, he didn't have to worry about income when he retired in 1935, just 6 years after the crash. I mean, if this doesn't drive home the benefits of an annuity, I don't really know what can, guys. What do you think?
The old Bambino, Sultan of Swat.
That's right.
I didn't even know annuities were around back then. You know, and the fact that, 1920s, 1930s, that's... Man, they've changed so much since then. But
I also think, Derrick, it's buying the right annuity. You know, the annuities that we work with for our clients have guaranteed principal, and you know that you can't lose your money, you know, and that added peace of mind of the knowing that money's going to be there when you need it. What's it about? You know, so many people bring us variable annuities that have these huge fees and they lose so much money in them. And so everybody has a bad annuity story, but I think so often they didn't buy the correct one. You know, the past 35 years, we've really helped our clients choose some correct ones. And you know, there are some for growth and some for income, but it's making sure you mirror what your objectives are, what kind of financial instrument that you put your money in.
Everybody's had a story throughout the years of a good or bad investment. So annuities are a good thing. Yeah, you know, Babe Ruth received over $17,000 per year, which is close to $400,000 in today's money, which is just absolutely incredible. And, you know, that's when we talk about annuities, there's some great benefits to them, and you need to look at your portfolio, especially from a risk standpoint and an income standpoint, and see, is annuity a good fit for you? And also, if you have a current annuity, annuities have changed, guys. Oh, a ton over the years. There's so many great benefits to newer ones that you can get teed into. So when we talk about that, I'm going to challenge everybody. If you have an old annuity, you're sitting around going, nah, I don't want an annuity. This thing's, junk, right? If it is, I will help you fix it. So I will tell you if there's a better annuity out there for you, and I challenge you, let's do the annuity challenge, guys. The first 5 callers, bring them on. Show me what you got, and I'm going to tell you there's better ways to do it, better annuities out there than what you have. And if yours has fantastic, it's doing something great for you, I'm going to tell you that too. But know what you have and know what your goal is, and I will help you position your annuity exactly where it needs to be.
Absolutely. Even though, a lot of people call us and they have this annuity, but they don't want to do anything with it because it's rolling up for income, even though they've lost tons of money or it has surrender fees. But call us 9 times out of 10, we're able to beat that income that you can't outlive. We're also able sometimes to get it joint life based on you and if you have a spouse instead of single life. So there's so many things we can do. And I think it all starts with a phone call or jump online at Retire Texas style and say, hey guys, I've got this annuity. I need to send, you can fax us a page or call us. We'll help you get a PDF to us or whatever. But, we'll keep that confidential. But it's just important that you know where your money is and what it's built to do and make sure it lasts. I always think about that discount tire place where they throw the tire through the window. Some people want to just take that annuity they bought, they hate it, and shred it. Well, you know what? Let's fix that. You don't have to be frustrated. What I believe is knowledge is power. Let's make that happen.
The name of the game in retirement is income, income, income. And one of those guaranteed income sources that a lot of us, I venture to say maybe most of us are counting on, is Social Security. Well, there's been rumors that the Social Security benefits will be cut by 25% within the next 10 years if nothing is done to prop up its trust fund. Well, some in Congress, they're toying with the idea of Social Security being invested into the stock market instead of treasuries. Well, we ran that past David Dooley. He's co-founder of the Social Security Risk Score.
Is there a way to direct some of that into an untouchable, more private market lockbox that can grow in value and become an asset to Americans? Maybe it's just a broad index fund. It's representative of America. No fees, can't touch. And if that person, God forbid, dies, it becomes an asset to that person's family. Because right now, if you take Social Security and you wait to age 70 and you're walking out of the Social Security office and you got your first check and you get hit by a bus, that $1 million you put in is gone.
It is all gone. So, Derrick, what are your thoughts on this?
Oh, I firmly agree there. And the idea of putting in the stock market instead of treasuries, I don't know about y'all, but I don't really find that the government here is very good with money. I don't know if y'all have noticed that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Hence the significant debt we have, et cetera. Yeah, of course.
Exactly. But, I'll tell you, we harp on, people on the radio show and our clients and everything about being proactive. Don't wait till the drop in the stock market and everything like that. Here at Hoyl Financial, we're already factoring this in when we do a retirement analysis because it is something that is completely plausible that could happen. And if you see that reduction of 25% in your benefits, I need to be able to tell you that and stress test your portfolio where we can look at that and say, hey, you're going to be okay, or hey, we got to do something different, because we're already factoring that in. We're not waiting for it to happen. We are being proactive.
Well, and I think, Derrick, the other thing is it's right there on your Social Security statement. If things don't change by 2033, you're going to have a huge reduction. We even have strategies now that if your Social Security drops by 3%, all of a sudden there's a huge increase in income. So, we're planning for that. We can't sit around and wait to see what Uncle Sam's going to do. We've got to make sure that you do what you need to do to protect your future. That's what it's about. It's all in the planning. Having a plan, working a plan, reviewing that plan, and then just continuing to work it. That's what it's about.
If you haven't sat down with your financial professional in the last year, you're missing the boat too, guys. That's something at Hoyl Financial we are adamant about. At least once a year, you need to sit down with us because times are changing. Tax changes every year. There's all different strategies that change every year. And you have to make sure that you continue to build that relationship with your financial professional. And, him be able to or her be able to help you with this. They need to know about you. They need to know about lifestyle changes and things like that, because that is something that we do 100% of the time.
Deciding on when and how to take Social Security, there's so many different moving parts, but the Social Security risk score solution is a way to say, okay, look, if it runs out in 10 years, how's that going to impact you? As Steve, as you demonstrated there, it breaks it down, not if, but when this happens. And Steve, you have this solution exclusive, so you can't go to anybody and get this option, right, Steve?
Absolutely. We have that, and people are calling us all the time. How do you do that? Well, the numbers never lie. And Jess, just like you mentioned, knowing the right time to take Social Security for you is paramount. Just electing Social Security at 62, that can wreck your retirement plan. Use other buckets of money to get to full retirement age or all the way to age 70.
The question is, can saving too much for retirement get you into tax trouble? Believe it or not, studies show that it often happens, and people spend less as they get older because, those certain things just don't bring joy like they used to. For example, all those trips that you love to take, maybe they're just not as thrilling or as easy as you get into your 70s or 80s, and, your mortgage is paid off, your kids have left the house, and so your growing money pile is just sitting there unused. Believe it or not, this will get you in some tax trouble. You combine that with multiple income streams like Social Security, maybe you have rental property, and then all of a sudden your favorite uncle, the tax man, he comes knocking. So what steps can you take right now ahead of time to prevent this? Steve and Derrick, how can you help us?
Well, I think the first thing, I love that part because, Steve and myself, we always talk about the go-go years in retirement, right? That's generally your 60s, maybe early 70s, where your health is good, you don't mind hiking, things like that, and you travel. You spend more in those early stages of retirement. But, yeah, as you get into your, mid-70s, late 70s, 80s, for sure, Christmas comes around, everybody comes to your house. You're the matriarch, patriarch, and everybody comes in. You don't travel as much, and maybe you take a cruise and every once in a while, that kind of thing. But in general, your costs do go down. So your income, so your money tends to pile up. And you do things that don't make any sense, really. You sit them in a savings account and you just keep watching it grow every single month. Well, I'll tell you that I love the fact it's kind of a newer wave thing about giving inheritance early in life. About 7 years ago, one of our clients came in and she just talked frankly, and she was like, I don't want them to inherit all this when I'm dead. I can't watch them have fun with it. I can't see them and the things they do. And she was talking about, hey, what's the best way, Derrick, tax-wise, to start gifting some of this away? You know, especially how your kids inherit money is totally different than how your spouse does. And you need a plan for that. Because if you have a lot of pre-tax money, and I don't care if you don't want to give your kids money a lot of times, you know, I feel that. But if it makes sense mathematically, why not do it? And I'll tell you, so your kids may be at the highest income earning years when you pass away. Did you know that, Steve? I mean, that's totally the highest percentage. Yeah. And so I don't want my kids to inherit money and all of a sudden the tax man's getting 30-40% of my money, because I will haunt them. I'll tell you, I'll come after them. Yeah. But if there's a way to do that when you're in a lower tax bracket and take some money off, even do Roth conversions and things like that we do on a daily basis, but putting together a plan where if you do pass away, those pre-tax dollars aren't getting taxed at 30 or 40%. You know, we want you to live in that 12 to 22% tax bracket. But doing something, once again, proactively is a huge deal, whether that's gifting, whether it's, you know, taking everybody to Vegas or whatever you'd like to do. But these are great strategies and things you can do to alleviate that burden even after you pass away.
Well, Derrick, I think it's interesting, too, that so many people come to see us and they don't realize that the tax law has changed and that your kids can't take income from that for the rest of their lives. I mean, that explain how that law changed. It's so important for people to know that.
Yeah, well, your kids used to be able to, you know, take like IRAs and roll them into inherited IRAs and just go about their business. Well, now they have 10 years, and there's some variances here, 5 to 10 years, depending on the situation, that you have to completely drain that account. Well, if your kids have, let's say, $200,000 a year in income, and all of a sudden they're having to take another $100,000 out of your assets, we're talking big money in taxes. So huge. Setting that up to alleviate that and get that in where your kids aren't having to have that huge tax burden, not only helps them, you know, in whenever you do pass away, but also, once again, like I said, I don't want them to pay more taxes on my money than they have to. Absolutely. But you have to do something about that in advance. You can't just sit there and go, hey, whatever they get, because I guarantee you, while you're alive, you don't want to say that. Steve, have we ever heard somebody say, you know what, however much they charge me in taxes, I'm good with that? Absolutely not, right?
But I think also what an opportunity to do a Roth conversion. You know, before the Trump tax package expires in 2026, if it's not renewed, we're going to have crazy taxes in this country. And what an opportunity to convert a lot of that qualified money. Pay the taxes at one time, get them out of the way, and then think about tax-free income for the rest of your life. You know, it's even possible then to have tax-free Social Security because you're under the limits. But, you know, if you can control the taxes and fees in retirement, it's a total game changer. You can take an extra huge trip a year. That's what matters.
Derrick and Steve, I was doing some research for the show. Of course, I turned to the very, very popular TikTok. I came across this video where this retired financial advisor, he's talking about what he says are the 4 most dangerous words for those nearing retirement. He says that they are just one more year. Listen to this.
Unfortunately, all of us are just one cancer diagnosis, one heart attack, one stroke away from not being able to fully take advantage of what I call the youth of our senior years. And if you're 60 years old, you likely have less than 1,000 weeks of healthy, active time in front of you. So, yes, it's easy to work one more year, but remember what you're taking away, what the price that you pay for one more year of work is. 5% fewer healthy, active years in retirement, and these are likely going to be your healthiest and your most active years.
Woo! All right, that's a lot, you guys. What do you think about this, and what do you say when clients say, all right, just one more year?
Well, I say it depends on if they love their job and they're like, hey, I want to work one more year. That's completely different than, well, Derrick, I have to work one more year, right? Two completely different sides of the ball there. But, yeah, I mean, tomorrow's never promised, guys. Whenever the good Lord decides to take us, it's our time. So, you can't sit there and I'll say you don't have planning. If you're sitting there and you don't want to work, but you're sitting there going, hey, one more year, I think I can get there in retirement. That think I can get there, you haven't done proper analysis. You haven't sat down with a financial professional and walked through everything. Because I'll tell people, yay, you got to work longer, or I'll tell you,
right.
John, pull the trigger, buddy. Go on a cruise, enjoy life. And the number one reason we see people saying that is because they haven't done the proper planning.
But Derrick, it all starts with a phone call. People so often say, I wish I would have done that 4 or 5 years ago, called you. You know what?
Absolutely.
You don't know what you don't know. You don't need to know anything. Just call us up. Hi, I'm John Doe or Mary Smith. And I'm telling you, the big people that call us so often is the spouse. The spouse is scared. They don't know what they don't know. They're not the risk taker. All you got to do is just call us. Let's get started. You got to start somewhere. But when you have time on your side, you can make retirement everything you dreamed of.
If you'd like to sit down with Steve and Derrick or a member of the Hoyl Financial Group, visit retiretexasstyle.com.
Investment advice offered through Hoyl Wealth Management, a Texas-registered investment advisor able to provide investment advice in states where it's registered, exempt, or excluded from registration. Content contained herein should not be construed as an offer or solicitation for investment advice or for the purchase or sale of any security, insurance, or other investment product. Investments involve the risk of loss, including possible loss of principal. Please consult with a qualified financial, tax, accounting, or legal professional before implementing any ideas or strategies discussed here. Content provided is obtained from sources believed to be reliable but cannot be guaranteed as to its accuracy or completeness. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance products, including annuities offered through Steve Hoyl, Texas Insurance License 716036. Annuity guarantees rely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company. Read your contract for restrictions, limitations, or penalties. Steve Hoyl is not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if Steve Hoyl is licensed in your state, please call 806-371-9473.